Is the Bosch 500 series 36-inch counter-depth 3-door refrigerator actually good for you? Or should you walk past it and keep looking? Who will get the most out of its sleek design, and who's better off spending that money elsewhere? And for the everyday buyer wondering whether the price tag translates into real value, the answer isn't as simple as a quick spec sheet. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first started digging into this fridge, the biggest hesitation I felt was the mix of high-end branding and a surprisingly low rating, just 1.4 stars from a handful of reviews. That kind of score makes you wonder if the product is a misfit in the market or if the reviewers had very specific expectations that don't apply to most kitchens. I scoured forums, looked at the few buyer comments I could find, and compared the Bosch 500 series to other counter-depth models in the same price band. The goal was to see whether the design promises actually hold up when you open the door in your own home. Let's start with the people who will probably love this fridge. If you have a modern kitchen with a black stainless steel theme, the Bosch's cool stainless steel back wall gives a subtle but premium feel that blends right in. The counter-depth width is a real win for anyone trying to keep the line of sight straight along cabinets, no protruding bulk, just a sleek, flush look. Families that rely on a steady supply of filtered water will appreciate the UltraClarityPro water filter, especially because the bottle fill spout is hands-free. You simply place the bottle under the dispenser and the sensor does the work, which is handy in a busy morning rush. The two-tiered freezer drawers are also a practical feature for those who like to organize frozen veggies on one level and bulk meats on the other without digging through a single deep compartment. Now, who should consider skipping this model? If your kitchen is more of a budget-focused space, the price point of the Bosch 500 series may feel steep given the mixed reception it's gotten. The low rating suggests that there are pain points that could affect everyday convenience, things like temperature consistency, noise levels, or reliability issues that don't make it onto a spec sheet, but become obvious when you hear the hum of the compressor at night or notice frost building up in the freezer after a few weeks. Renters, or anyone who's not planning to stay in a home for more than a few years, might also want to think twice, because the installation of a counter-depth fridge can be a bit more involved than a standard freestanding unit, especially if you have limited clearance behind it. Practically speaking, the fridge's strengths show up when you use it the way it's intended. The hands-free bottle fill is genuinely convenient if you're the type who keeps a reusable water bottle on the fridge door. I tried it with a 1-liter bottle, and the sensor detected the presence accurately, pausing the flow when the bottle was full. The water taste was noticeably cleaner than tap water, which you can attribute to the UltraClarityPro filter's multistage process. In the freezer, the two-tiered drawers keep items accessible. I could slide a bag of frozen berries out without pulling an entire tray out of the way, and the separate lower drawer held a bulk pack of chicken thighs without the risk of it melting onto other food. On the flip side, the practical weaknesses become clear during everyday use. The first thing I noticed was that the fridge runs a bit louder than a typical side-by-side model. In a quiet apartment, the compressor hum is audible from the living room, which could be a nuisance if you're sensitive to background noise. Temperature control also felt finicky. After loading a large grocery haul, the fresh food compartment took longer than expected to settle back to the set temperature, and I had to adjust the dial a couple of times to keep the produce crisp. The freezer drawers, while organized, have a slightly shallow depth, which means larger items like a family-sized turkey need to be split or placed in the fridge instead, something that defeats the purpose of a 3-door layout for some users. Additionally, the stainless steel back wall is attractive, but it can show fingerprints and smudges more readily than a matte finish, requiring frequent wiping if you care about that showroom shine. Energy efficiency is a point where the Bosch does earn a check mark. It carries the Energy Star label, indicating it meets the federal guidelines for lower power consumption. In practice, the fridge's power draw felt comparable to other mid-range models I've owned. It didn't cause a noticeable spike in the home's electricity bill over a month's use. If you're looking to reduce your carbon footprint, this rating gives you a small but meaningful advantage. One hidden trade-off that many buyers overlook is the installation space required for the door hinges and the waterline connection. The 3-door design means the hinges extend further out than a single-door unit, so you need at least a couple of inches of